In business news, locally headquartered Argent Bank declared its 129th consecutive dividend yesterday. Bank Chairman Donald Pelche says the move was approved at a meeting of the Board of Directors, and the dividend of 14 cents per share is payable on March 15th. This quarter's dividend shows a 51% increase over the dividend paid at this time last year. At a Lafourche Parish Finance Committee meeting last night, Council member Mary Flowers suggested they raise the salary of the parish president to a level that is comparable with other top officials. According to administration officials, parish president Steve Wilson makes about $36,000 per year, while other top office holders like the sheriff, district attorney, and clerk of court make an average of $55,000 per year. Wilson says the parish should raise the salary because he believes it would attract a better class of candidates for the job. The Finance Committee voted to recommend a salary study of surrounding parishes, a move that will have to be approved by the full council. Thibodaux police say a man arrested yesterday for 2 attempted daylight robberies allegedly used a gardening tool to intimidate the victims. 29-year-old Donald Jackson of Thibodaux is charged with attempted armed robbery, aggravated battery, aggravated burglary in 2 of the incidents that took place at an 8th Street home and at Mel's Frame Shop on 7th Street. No property was taken at either, but the frame shop owner sustained minor injuries after the suspect allegedly hit him with the head of a rake. Former Thibodaux Police Chief Norman Nookie Diaz is scheduled to turn himself in to federal authorities to begin serving a 15-month sentence for his involvement in a kickback scheme that defrauded the Lafourche Sheriff's Office of cash and weapons. He pled guilty to the charges last July. Officials at the Bureau of Prisons say Diaz will spend his sentence at Ecumenical House, a community correction center in Baton Rouge. In addition to the 15-month sentence, Diaz has been ordered to serve 2 years probation after his release and pay $35,000 in restitution. Although military reserve units nationwide will lose more than 55,000 slots, Louisiana reserves will gain 400. That does not mean that Louisiana won't lose anything, but the 590 positions it is losing will be more than outweighed by the 990 new positions. The Air Force Reserve is the biggest gainer with 384 new slots and no cuts. The Marine Corps Reserve will gain 252. The Army National Guard Reserve will gain 357. However, the Army Reserve will lose 392, the Navy Reserve 132, and the Air National Guard 69. The king of red beans and rice is dead. Buster Holmes died yesterday of a heart attack at the age of 89. A wake will be held tomorrow night at La Harpe Street Methodist Church, and a jazz funeral will be held there Thursday morning for the man who traveled the world to cook for his friends in the Preservation Hall Jazz Band. Holmes used to say that he started the restaurant that bore his name to give workers a good, cheap meal. He became famous for it, and in the late 60s, he could get a plate of red beans and rice at Buster Holmes for 27 cents. The restaurant closed in 1979. The name is now franchised at a fancy shopping mall on the Mississippi River, but Holmes had little to do with the food after he retired. State police say that local authorities report only about 1 out of 4 felony convictions to state police. Sergeant Bobby Guidros says that means most convicted felons could buy guns in Louisiana in spite of the new Brady bill. That law sets a 5-day waiting period before anyone can buy a firearm. That is supposed to give police time to check for felony convictions. Guidros says that one problem is that no one is sure who is supposed to be doing the reporting. State Emergency Preparedness official Henry Baquet says one of the Hurricane Andrew lessons is that people who want to help need guidelines too. He's helping the Federal Emergency Management Agency set up such guidelines. Baquet was Emergency Management Coordinator for Iberia Parish when Hurricane Andrew hit. He says many donated goods were just thrown into a tractor trailer, and communities hit by the storm had nobody to unload and sort it all. Governor Edwards has signed a bill that he called a special session to get approved. The bill adds another $32 million to the state budget for the fiscal year that ends in June. Nearly $23 million will pay sheriffs to house state prisoners in parish jails. Most of the remaining $9.3 million also will pay for prison